we've talked a little bit about commissions and grand bargains, and how do you get this done? And I think we've all seen numerous commissions come and go, and the problem is still here. So what are your thoughts on maybe taking a slightly different tact? And that is, instead of trying to do everything at once, try to do a little bit at a time and sort of bite out, take a small bite of the problem and build some political trust and some bipartisanship. In other words, have both parties sit down and say, okay, let's see what we can agree on, as opposed to finding all the things that we disagree on or trying to force an agreement on everything. Is there some way to, okay, Republicans, what one tax would you be willing to support? And Democrats, what one spending cut would you be willing to support? And try to take it a bite at a time, as opposed to the whole enchilada.
Well, I go back to something Bill said, which I think is really important. It's critical, I think, to build a consensus among the public for the need to do this, because and it's a good question, Steve. I mean, naturally, a smaller bite is easier than a bigger bite because the pain is less. But you need to develop the political will. Leadership is critical, but you need followers, and followers need to understand that there is a real problem and that something has to happen. And I'm sorry to say we don't have the leadership and we don't have followers right now. And the irony is, I think our leaders do understand the problem, but frankly, there is no political upside right now to doing anything about it. I mean, that's it. To the contrary, there's a political upside in demagoguing the issue, we are where we are right now.
I could make the argument, it seems, Steve, that what we just saw with the current debate we went through in raising the debt limit, they did just what you said. They basically did a little bit and claimed that they accomplished a great deal. And as we know that both by what Tom and I put in our op-ed, as well as what CBO came out with, we reduced the debt, the total debt to GDP, not just the debt held by the public, by less than $1 trillion, I guess, about over the next 10 years or through the 33. We really didn't do anything. And I think that's my reluctance to say, take a little step at a time. We've been taking little steps at a time, and it hasn't addressed the real issue long term.
Well, maybe one of the problems with the little steps is that they're all taken on discretionary spending, which is only about a third of the budget. And even if you took big steps on discretionary spending, the dynamic of the budget is such that if you first go into it by saying Medicare, Social Security, Medicaid are off the table and revenues are off the table, by definition, you're looking at an incremental solution.